Well, hello there. Welcome back, my friends. How the devil are you? You're looking fabulous as always. Would you believe it is September? Nope, me neither. I am dressed for the summer I want, not necessarily the summer I have. And it is still summer for another few weeks. Don't let those pumpkin spice fanatics rush you. It is still summer. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, and life is good. Welcome. Welcome back. And thank you for joining me once more for episode 15 of Going Solo, the weekly podcast for solopreneurs who want to make life and business work for them and not the other way around. I'm Knight Dutkewich, corporate dropout turned business coach, and someone who learned the extremely hard way what it actually takes to run a successful solo business. Each week, I'm breaking down the real strategies, the mindset shifts, and yes, just a little bit, just a soupçon of woo-woo to help you build a profitable business on your terms. Because, my friends, it is not the market. It is not your awful ex-boss. You know who you are. It is what is going on between those two beautiful ears of yours. So today we are going to talk about something that so many coaches and so many people, and I did for the longest time, shy away from. And it is the key to creating the life that you most desire. And that, my friends, is your relationship with money. We are going to talk about money. We are going to be talking about money, your relationship with it, your pricing and your value. And we're going to talk about rewriting your money story and pricing powerfully. No more undercharging, no more hiding, no more playing school. Playing small. By the end of this episode, you're going to have clarity about your worth and the confidence to charge like the expert you really are. But before we do any of that, my cat is crying. Before we do any of that, I want to invite every one of you to a fabulous free masterclass that I am running on September the 10th. And it is all about how to earn consistent 25k months, so 250k US dollars a year, as a leader who used to be in corporate and is now a coach or a solopreneur. And we're going to do all of that without doing anything icky, without selling sales services to other people, and without doing anything that makes us want to shower. So wherever you are listening to this, if you are on LinkedIn, check out my profile, you'll see the events. And if you are listening to this on Spotify or on YouTube, check out the link in the show notes. And if you've missed it, if I am talking to you from the future, hello, there'll be a replay. So wherever you're listening to this, you can catch my dulcet tones. All right, so this might sting a little. I always like to give a bit of a this might sting caveat. Most solopreneurs, most coaches, and quite frankly, most people are under-earning. I was under-earning for my entire life, and I was a senior manager at Rolls-Royce PLC. I was a successful consultant, and I was still under-earning. Now, I made multiple six figures. So under-earning isn't about not making enough money. It is about earning less than you're capable of and less than you want to. So if you know, and if you're listening to this, you know, I know you know. If you know that you are earning less money than you want to and that you are capable of, you, my friends, are under-earning. Okay. So under-earning it's kind of this habitually settling for less, even though deep down you know we're made for more. And if you're honest with yourself, you probably recognize those pesky voices, which I'm going to suggest probably aren't your own, are from, my cat's getting his chill on in the corner. You'll probably recognize those voices in your head that are probably from whoever raised you, probably from parents or guardians or grandparents or whoever scarred you. And those voices are keeping your income far smaller than it should be. So some of those voices could be, you could be saying to yourself, I don't want to be greedy. This is a thing I see in lots of coaches, and this is something I really struggled with a few years ago, is coaches are good people, most of them. Most of us are good people, most of the time. And we want to do good things. And there is this misnomer that you can either do good or make good money, and you can't do both. The other thought that you might be having is people won't pay that much. I just want to help. I don't want to make it about money, or money isn't a motivator for me. How many times have you said that? I used to say that all the time. It's not true. I lied. Money is a motivator for me, and not because of the money. I don't want a Ferrari. Wouldn't mind a cheeky little Audi convertible though. Don't want a Ferrari, but I do want the freedom and the choice and the flexibility that money brings us, and the ability to help and the ability to heal that money brings us. Some of the other thoughts that we tend to have are, and I see this is one I see all the time. I had a client recently who came to me from another coaching program, and they were charging $1,500 for their services. Now, this client is fantastic. She's a little pocket rocket of just goodness, light, and energy. And the first thing I did with her is like, why are you charging so little? So we literally tripled her prices. But she had one of the thoughts that's really common in that situation is, if I can't sell very many at $1,500, how am I going to sell more at $4,500? And she did, because it's just a myth. The myth that it is easier to sell a $1,500 program than a $5,000 program is simply that. It is a myth. It is a myth. And we tend to think if I charge more, they'll go to somebody else. If people aren't buying this at 500, why will they buy it for 5,000? Now, if that sounds familiar, welcome to all the best people. And I think we kind of hold on to those thoughts in the quest of being humble. They're not really humble. They're actually stoked in fear. And I believe in my bones that we are obligated to share our gifts with the world. Now, whatever that is, but those thoughts are soaked in fear, and they cost you your obligation. So fear costs you your obligation, showing up as you really are and to do the work that only you can do. It costs you time, it costs you freedom, it costs you confidence, and it costs you cash. And most importantly, or equally importantly, it is keeping you from sharing your unique skills with the people who need them the most. And there's that ripple effect. So when I work with a client and I help them to blow their own mind and realize quite how brilliant and fabulous and unique they are and make a lot of money, that not only affects that client, it affects their family. They're able to spend more time with their children. They're able to have easier relationships with their spouses. They're nicer to their next door neighbor. It ripples out throughout the world. The Lord's work. We're doing the Lord's work. And so I want you to think about for a second that hesitation that you feel when you think about raising your prices or saying no to a lowball offer. One of the things that will happen to coaches all the time is people will try and barter with them, and people will say, see this all the time with my clients, they will offer their program for sale for $5,000. Somebody will come back and say, I've only got $2,000. What can you do for me? Then the coach will spend the next couple of hours trying to come up with a program that works for this person. And I'm like, what are you doing? We're not a custom burger. We're not a custom burger. Yes, don't do that. You want to think about where that hesitation is coming from. It is not coming from your higher self. It is not coming from your talent or your experience or your audience. It's coming from old beliefs, or the people's beliefs usually. You've absorbed and patterns you have agreed to without realizing it. They're coping mechanisms. The way we react to money is usually a coping mechanism. It's often a trauma response, small t trauma, could be big T trauma. Often trauma and a coaching response. So under earning is a conditioned response. We weren't born with the desire to sell ourselves short. It is a conditioned response. It's something we've learned, particularly as women. It hasn't particularly been safe to say that we are ambitious and we want to earn more money and we want to make more impact. I am 47. I think I say that every podcast. I'm not ready to be 48, by the way. It's like, I am 47. Mid-40s. I'm in my mid-40s. It has taken me until the last couple of years to really make peace with the fact I'm really quite ambitious. And anybody that knew me sort of 20 years ago, I was not particularly ambitious. And I did well And I sort of got on, but I wasn't interested in getting ahead because I thought that getting ahead meant I had to look, be, and behave like the people that were ahead of me. And I had no interest in doing that. The truth is, you can get ahead in a way that aligns with who you are, your values, your joy, your freedom, your picadillos. We need to bring back the word picadillo. Let's say that quite enough. Okay. So it's a coping mechanism. It's not about how talented you are. It is not about the economy. There is more than enough money in the world that we are never going to run out. It literally prints more. Don't start me with inflation. And it is definitely not about whether your clients can afford you. It is about fear running the show. If your clients can't afford you, they are not your clients, my friends. They are not your clients. You are talking to the wrong people. Really, really important. Lots of coaches give up far too soon, thinking they can't sell because they talk to the wrong people. Okay, it's about letting fear run the show. Fear of being judged, fear of being greedy, fear of taking up space and stepping into your power, fear of making bold offers, fear of being rejected. You will be rejected. Rejection is the cost of success. And remember, people can't reject you if you aren't for sale. I'm not for sale. I was going to make a joke then about Keanu Reeves. I'm not for sale. Call me Keanu. I'm not for sale. My offers are. When people reject my offer, it is not a rejection of me. Now, does it feel like that? Sometimes it does. I won't lie. I'm a sensitive soul. Sensitive soul. Years ago, getting rejected floored me. I blame Neil when I was 14. It's a long story. Boo, Neil, if you're listening. Rejection stings. And rejection doesn't sting because of the situation, usually. Sometimes it does. It stings because of the meaning we are giving it. So when I started working for myself and my offers were rejected, I would make that mean that nobody likes me. Nobody likes you. You're not worth that much money. What you have to give isn't of value. You were wrong to give this a try. It was never going to work for you. Now, what's going to happen when I give that rejection all that meaning? I'm going to take myself out of that situation. There's no way to live. Nothing has any meaning apart from the meaning that we give to it. And that is so important with rejection. So know that putting yourself out as a solopreneur, as a coach, there are costs to that, goal costs. Rejection, fear, anxiety, a lovely lasagna of negative emotions. They are the cost of showing up. Freaks and trolls. Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody is going to love you. Not everyone is going to think you are fabulous. Those people are what we call wrong, but they're allowed to be wrong. People are allowed to not like me. They're even allowed to, if they subscribe from my email list or on a social media platform, they're even allowed to email me as they let themselves out and tell me all the reasons they don't like me. And they do that sometimes. They do it less these days, but they do that. That is a cost of taking up space. You've got to be able to handle it. You've got to be able to handle it. Remember, these people are strangers on the internet. The cost of being successful is haters. And that is something I've learnt. And there are more lovers and supporters than there are haters. Okay. All right. And most people don't make the connection. They don't make the connection between how they're showing up with their offers and thinking about money and then the actions that they take. So they just kind of quietly shrink themselves or let themselves out. And they settle for less than they're worth. And eventually, usually about 2 years down the line, you'll see them saying, I tried to be a coach. I tried to be a solopreneur. It doesn't work. It was harder than I thought. I'm going to find a job. And then the algorithm will show them to everybody and everyone will jump on and agree how hard this stuff is. Is making money as a coach easy? No, it's not. It is simple. The part that makes it difficult, not easy, is rarely the technical piece. I always tell my clients, we rarely have business problems. We have belief, emotional problems. Occasionally we have to fix your niche, your offer and your messaging. What usually gets in the way is how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about taking up space, how we feel about being criticized, how we feel about getting it wrong, how we feel about putting ourselves out there on a live every week and seeing every flaw right in your face when you edit it and knowing it's out there and there's nothing you can do. You know, that takes balls. It takes balls to put yourself out there. That is the cost of being successful. Is it always fun? No, your brain is going to want to do something else. My brain wants to go read my book. I don't. I show up and I do this. Okay, so we're done with that. We are done with settling for less than we're worth. And today, my friends, we're going to start reclaiming our power around money. So what I will say is the way you think about money isn't your fault. So the way you think about money isn't your fault. And it is now, as an adult, your responsibility. Now, those are two very different things. So it wasn't your fault. Lots of things aren't our fault. Most of them are our responsibility now. Okay. So I want you to take a moment to think back to your childhood. What were you told about money? What did you hear? Maybe it was things like money doesn't grow on trees. Quite literally does. Quite literally does. Or you have to work hard for every penny. Or money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. Money is the root of all evil is something I used to hear a lot growing up. More money, more problems. More money, more problems. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Never understood that. Makes no sense to me. But those are I'm from working class Birmingham. The scarcity of money was top of mind for a whole region for decades and decades and decades. And in particularly in the UK, we didn't talk about money, and you probably still don't, to be honest. It was very gauche to talk about money. But the way that we think and talk about money shapes what we believe, what we feel and what we do, and therefore the results that we get. Without us realizing it, it influences our pricing, our confidence, and our willingness to ask for what we deserve. So think about the messages you absorbed when you were young and what people like you were allowed to earn. I'm very open. We live by the coast. We have a boat. I took my parents, working class Brits, out on the boats the other day, and my dad's been on the boat before, and he kept saying, well, he said two things. He said, I wonder what the poor people are doing now, because my dad's quite funny. And the second thing he said is, this isn't what people from where I grew up with did. This isn't what people from where I grew up with in Birmingham got to do. And my parents haven't lived in Birmingham for a long time. They lived in Europe. But you could still see at kind of 75, he still very much saw himself as a working class boy from the poorer industrial parts of Birmingham, and that people like that didn't get to live by the coast and go on their boats on a Sunday. So, you know, that stuff goes back a long, long time. Okay. All right. So I want to get practical for a second. I'm actually far more practical than I look. I want you to really think about where you have been shrinking in your business. And you will know what it is. You will know what it is. Maybe it's your pricing. Maybe it's your offers. Maybe it's in the way you're showing up. Maybe it's in not wanting people in your past to see what you're doing now. Maybe you want to tell some stories that sort of old bosses or old colleagues or old friends might see themselves in a little bit, and you're kind of holding back. It is your truth to tell. You get to tell your story. Okay. So what fears are coming up for you? What fears are coming up when you imagine raising your prices? Just take a moment to think about that. So think about, I'm going to say think about your offer. What's your offer currently cost? Think about doubling it. Think about doubling it. What's coming up for you? Maybe you're worried people will think you're greedy. Maybe you think nobody will pay or they go somewhere else. Or that you're putting money over helping people and that people with money are bad. Now, are there bad people with money? Absolutely. Absolutely. They're all over the news. And there are lots of bad people without money. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil, my friends. Okay. All right. Now I want you to think about the other end of it. I want you to pause for a second and imagine being really, really confident in that number. So take the number that's doubled. Double the number, and imagine charging that really boldly. Imagine charging what the transformation you offer is actually worth and feeling confident about it. think about the results you deliver. So one of the reasons I'm so confident in my prices is I help people get to consistent 10K, 20K, 30K months. And I do it all the time, and I do it every day. One of my clients, who's been working with me for a while, he just made $120,000 in 48 hours in his first year of business. There is a real problem of people talking about what's realistic. Realism, schmealism. Realism, schmealism. Realistic is just your brain's way of trying to keep you on the sofa watching, I don't know, The Gilded Age. I'm trying to stop saying Downton Abbey, and I've like progressed now to The Gilded Age. It's just trying to keep you safe. It's just trying to keep you away from freaks and trolls and being judged and putting yourself out there. Okay. I want you to think about what are the real results you deliver. What's the transformation your clients experience because of you? What would that be worth to you if you're a client? And I want you to take a moment and really feel that. I want you to think about the work that you do. Think about the impact it has on the clients. Think about the impact it has on the people around the clients, their family, their friends, their daughters, their sons, their neighbours. I want you to think about the impact that ripples out to the rest of the world. And I want you to really, really feel that. And that is where confidence grows, by recognizing the impact that you are having. Now, if you're sort of listening to this and you go, well, I'm not making an impact, Joe, then I would very, very kindly suggest you are offering the wrong thing. If you are not absolutely able to say the work I do does this, you're doing the wrong work. Okay? Just going to put that out there. When you know the impact you are making, it becomes much easier to step into your value. Okay, now, so let's take that's kind of quite nebulous. Let's take that and put it into your business. I want you to look at your current charges. Look at the costs of your offers. I want you to look at what's included in there. I want you to ask yourself, if I fully believed in the value and the transformation of my work, would I still charge this? The reason I charge $10,000 for my 10,000 month club is that I know by the end of I am giving them the ability to make 10, 20, 30K months. And that $10,000 to be able to do that is an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. Okay. And I want you to think about your offers and your money. I want you to think about, if you fully believed in that transformation and the value, would I still charge this? Now, some of you are going to be thinking right now, well, your amygdala is going to be thinking, that's all well and good for you, Joe, but you help people make money. I see you. It's not my first day. Money is only one of the 5 things people will get out their credit card for. You do not have to help people make money to be able to justify your value and your transformation. There are more important things than money. Health, well-being, being able to sleep through the night, not dreading going to work the next day, being able to handle difficult people. I'm just trying to think about some of the problems I overcame in my life. How to deal with rejection. Rejection used to floor me. Like, I would really make it mean. Some not very good stuff. Neil. It's not Neil's fault. It's Neil's fault. My responsibility. Might do a podcast that's just called Neil from Glastonbury. Okay, so I want you to think about all of the ways that the work you do makes the difference in the world. Okay, and I want you to think about, if your clients are able to get that transformation that you are and that result that you're promising, how much is it worth to them financially, emotionally, physically? Now, the other thing that your brain will do now is to say it's priceless. I see you. Put a price on it, my lovelies. Put a price on it. Write down a number. What is it worth to them to be able to, I don't know, leave that abusive partner, to start again at 60, to be able to sleep through the night, to know that they can leave corporate confidently and replace their salary within 6 months. What's that worth to them financially? Give me a number. What's that worth emotionally? What's it worth physically? And I do this with my clients all the time. Most coaches are shocked when they do this exercise. And we start to see very quickly and very clearly our prices have been far too low all along. And that is a good thing, because once we see it, we know exactly what needs to change. Okay, so let's put this into some more context for our business. So I want you to think about your financial goals. I want you to think about your next bold monthly income goal, not the safe one, the one that makes you feel, I always say to my clients, if it doesn't make you feel a little bit sick, you're doing it wrong. Okay. Now come up with that number. So mine is $100,000 a month. $100,000 a month. Now you want to turn that into an annual goal. So times it by 12. I only work 10. That's 10. I only work 10 months a year. So for me, 100,000 a month, 10 months. Don't do August and I don't do December. That is $1 million a year. Now that's your annual goal. Now I want you to imagine running a business where you hit that number with ease, integrity, confidence, and I want you to claim it. I want you to speak it into existence. I run a $1 million a year coaching business with ease, integrity, and confidence. Now, I want you to do the maths, or math, if you're in North America. I've been here almost 20 years and I still say maths. I want you to do the maths. I want you to think about that big juicy goal that you have. And I want you to look at your current prices. How many sales do you need at your current price? Do you need to hit that goal? How many hours of work is that going to take? How many hours of work is that going to take paid in client work? How many is it going to take unpaid? Now, one of the things that will probably pop up unavoidably is there is a gap or an opportunity between the amount of money you want to earn and the amount of units you're going to have to shift at the current prices. I am going to guess that every single one of you, I'll say this, every single one of you for your big juicy money goal isn't going to be able to get there from a scaling up as a solopreneur with where you're currently pricing. I'm not a betting person. I'll take that bet. Okay. Let me know whether you realize you need to increase your prices. Okay. So whenever I work with people, I always work on their money beliefs before we build their offer, before we create their sales funnels, before we post another social media updates. Your relationship with money comes first, middle, and last. No matter how brilliant your offer is, if you're holding on to an unhealthy relationship with money, and most of us are, I work on mine every day, it will sabotage your success. So re-engaging, I'm trying to avoid using the word rewiring. I can't stand that word. Rewriting. I'll go rewriting. So reimagining, renegotiating, rewiring your money story is step one. When you do that, your prices, your offers, and sales become easier and then therefore more enjoyable. Who doesn't want to enjoy it? All right. So today I want you to start thinking differently about money. Money is a good thing. Good comes from money. There is more than enough money in the world. Money comes to you with ease. Okay. There are more than enough people who can afford to pay you. If people can't afford to pay you, you are talking to the wrong people. You're talking to the wrong people. That's all it is. You're just talking to the wrong people. I want you, my lovely friends, to stop hiding from the greatness that is within you. I want you to stop shrinking and fearing the consequences of taking up space. I want you to stop letting fear and other people's outdated beliefs run the show. Your clients are waiting for you. They need you. They are desperate for you to step into your full value. The transformation you offer is worth the cost. And if it is not, then find something that is. If you know it's not worth it, then don't be doing that. Find something you know that is. And when you finally charge for the value that you add, something magical happens. Your confidence grows, your business expands, and your impact and your bank account multiplies. You become a magnet for abundance. Okay. All right, my friends. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a fabulous rest of the week. Remember, masterclass, September the 10th, how to make 250k a year without selling LinkedIn or sales services and without doing anything that makes you want to shower. And remember, and it's completely free. Remember, just because you are going solo, it doesn't mean that you are alone. I've got you. Until the next time, take care.